First Blood. The universe learned a valuable lesson that day. Never mistake humanity's silence for surrender. When the Kron Empire's warships darkened Earth's sky on a Tuesday morning, most people were drinking coffee, checking emails, rushing to work. The invasion wasn't dramatic at first. No grand announcements, no ultimatums, just shadows growing larger across cities as massive vessels descended through cloudless blue. Then Jakarta vanished. Not destroyed, vanished. Where 12 million people had lived, only smooth glass remained, reflecting the horrified faces of satellite operators watching from orbit. Commander Sarah Mitchell felt the shockwave from her underground facility in the Australian outback. The concrete walls shuddered, dust raining from ceiling joints. She'd been tracking the alien signatures for weeks, warning anyone who'd listen. Now her worst predictions were becoming reality. "Ma'am, we've lost contact with Pacific Command," Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice steady despite trembling hands. "All major military installations they're targeting command structures first." Sarah nodded grimly. She'd expected this. The Kron weren't amateurs. They'd done this before to other worlds. But they'd made one mistake. They'd left the underground networks intact, dismissing humanity's primitive bunker systems as irrelevant. Within hours, the Kron had eliminated every major government, every standing army, every visible sign of organized resistance. Their crystalline ships hung over ruined capitals like predators savoring their kill. The alien broadcasts began soon after, transmitted directly into human minds through their telepathic technology. Species 7641. Your integration into the Kron Empire begins now. Compliance ensures survival. Resistance ensures extinction. But humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and its own worst impulses. Sarah watched her screens fill with encrypted messages from similar bunkers worldwide. Scattered, hidden, but very much alive. In Moscow's abandoned metro tunnels, former Spetsnaz officer Dmitry Volkov gathered survivors around flickering emergency lights. In the flooded remains of New Orleans, marine biologist Dr. Emma Rodriguez used sonar equipment to coordinate rescue boats through alien patrols. In the Andes Mountains, teenager Miguel Santos hacked Kron drones with a modified gaming console, turning their own surveillance against them. The resistance wasn't organized. It wasn't pretty. But it was human, stubborn, creative, and absolutely refusing to die quietly. Sarah's breakthrough came 3 weeks later. Her team had captured a damaged Kron scout craft, its pilot killed when electromagnetic interference from an old radio telescope scrambled its navigation. Inside they found something unexpected. The aliens weren't individuals. They were nodes in a vast telepathic network, each mind connected to a collective consciousness. "It's like a biological internet," Dr. James Park explained, examining the alien neural tissue. "Each Kron is just a terminal accessing a central server. Cut the connection, and they're just meat," Sarah finished. "Can we block it? Better, we can hijack it." The first test was small, a localized jamming field that severed 12 Kron soldiers from their network during a food depot raid. The aliens stumbled, confused, their perfect coordination shattered. Sarah's team eliminated them in minutes, suffering no casualties. Word spread through encrypted channels. Resistance cells worldwide began targeting Kron communication nodes, using everything from microwave ovens to cathedral bells to disrupt their telepathic frequencies. The aliens, so dependent on their shared consciousness, found themselves fighting an enemy that thrived on chaos. But the Kron adapted quickly. Their retaliation was swift and brutal. They began converting Earth's atmosphere, introducing spores that would terraform the planet within months. Humans without protective gear started suffocating, their lungs rejecting the changing air. Sarah knew they were running out of time. In her bunker's war room, she stared at the global map dotted with resistance cells, scattered points of light in an ocean of red. "We need to unite," she announced to her staff. "Not under one command. That's what they expect. We need to become something they can't predict or counter." "Ma'am?" Chen asked. "We need to become chaos incarnate." The plan was insane, built on humanity's greatest strength, its ability to cooperate without conformity. Each cell would act independently but simultaneously, guided by a simple principle: maximum disruption, minimum pattern. Sarah recorded a message, broadcasting it through every available channel. "This is Commander Mitchell to all surviving units. In 72 hours we remind these bastards why humans are the apex predators of Earth. No coordination, no patterns, just pure, beautiful chaos. Make them afraid to sleep." Miguel Santos in Peru strapped explosives to consumer drones, creating swarms of miniature bombers. Emma Rodriguez engineered toxic algae that ate through Kron hull material. Dmitry Volkov's team dug tunnels beneath a landed mothership, planning to bring it down from below. The Kron, masters of perfect synchronization, found themselves facing an enemy that defied logic. Attacks came from everywhere and nowhere. No pattern to predict, no command structure to eliminate. Just thousands of angry humans with nothing left to lose. Sarah watched the countdown timer in her bunker. 24 hours remaining. Around her, technicians prepared their masterpiece, a virus built from captured Kron biotechnology, designed to feed back through their telepathic network. "You sure this will work?" Chen asked, checking weapon systems. Sarah smiled grimly. "No, but that's what makes us human. We try anyway." Above them, the Kron fleet prepared for what their models predicted would be humanity's final coordinated assault. Their collective consciousness hummed with confidence, analyzing patterns, predicting strategies. They were about to learn that humans didn't need patterns. They had something far more dangerous. They had hope, fury, and the absolute certainty that if they were going down, they were taking the Empire with them. The counter hit zero. The reckoning. The attack began at 3:17 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, though no two clocks agreed anymore. Time itself seemed to fracture as humanity struck from every shadow, every ruin, every forgotten corner of their dying world. In orbit, Kron Admiral Vextar watched his tactical displays descend into incomprehensible static. Where his models predicted coordinated strikes, chaos erupted. Mumbai's ruins spawned acid-filled balloons that ate through patrol craft. Antarctica's ice released ancient bacteria that devoured Kron organic technology. Children in Berlin used mirror arrays to blind sensor drones. Pattern analysis failing, his subordinates reported through the collective link. No strategic coherence detected. "Impossible," Vextar transmitted back. "All sapient species follow patterns, increase computational resources." But the harder they tried to understand humanity's assault, the more processing power they wasted. The Kron's greatest strength, their unified consciousness, became a liability as conflicting data streams overloaded their network. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, something stirred. Dr. Emma Rodriguez had spent weeks modifying volcanic vents, turning Earth's own geology into weapons. Now superheated water jets erupted beneath Kron naval platforms, cooking them from below. The aliens, adapted to cosmic warfare, had never considered that a planet itself might fight back. Sarah, Mitchell watched her screens with grim satisfaction. Every successful strike was bought with lives, brave fools who knew they wouldn't survive their missions but launched them anyway. The Kron death toll climbed, but so did humanity's. "Commander, incoming transmission," Chen reported. "It's not Kron standard." The message played through damaged speakers. "Earth defenders. This is scientist Zephon. I am Kron, but I reject the Empire. Seeking alliance. Have information vital to your survival." Sarah's team traced the signal to a crashed scout ship in the Sahara. Against all protocols, she authorized a retrieval mission. What they found changed everything. Zephon was young by Kron standards, his carapace still soft green instead of battle-hardened black. More importantly, he was disconnected, a rare Kron mutation that left him outside their telepathic network. "You fight well but without understanding," Zephon explained through a translation device. "The Empire doesn't want your planet, they want you." "What do you mean?" Sarah demanded. "Your species possesses something unique. Individual consciousness paired with collective action. The Empire seeks to harvest this paradox, to evolve beyond their limitations." They've done this before. Absorb a species' cognitive patterns. Discard the flesh. Sarah felt ice in her veins. They're farming us for our minds? Yes. But in trying to understand your chaos, they've exposed their core processing nexus. I know its location. The final gambit took shape. Using Zephon's information, Sarah coordinated humanity's first and only unified strike. Not through commands or hierarchy, but through a simple shared goal: hit the Nexus ship hiding behind Titan. Every surviving human fighter, every jury-rigged weapon, every desperate innovation converged on a single point. The Kron, still trying to analyze patterns in chaos, didn't see the trap until too late. Miguel Santos, now piloting a stolen Kron fighter, led the first wave. His teenage reflexes, honed on video games, outmaneuvered pilots with centuries of experience. Behind him came Dmitry Volkov's boarding teams, Emma Rodriguez's bioweapons, and thousands of others. Sarah's virus-loaded missiles launched last, hidden in the chaos of conventional weapons. The Kron Nexus ship's defenses, overwhelmed by the UR multi-vector assault, failed to detect the real threat until the warheads detonated inside their shield bubble. The virus spread through the telepathic network like wildfire through dry grass. But instead of destroying the Kron consciousness, it did something unexpected. It introduced chaos into their perfect order. Individual thoughts, fears, doubts flooded a collective that had known only unity for millennia. Admiral Vextar experienced something unprecedented: loneliness. For the first time in his existence, he was alone in his own mind. Around him, the Empire's perfect coordination crumbled as billions of Kron discovered individuality. The aftermath wasn't conquest but confusion. Kron ships hung motionless in space, their crews paralyzed by the sudden silence in their minds. Some fled. Others surrendered. Many simply drifted, awaiting orders that would never come. Earth was dying but victorious. The atmospheric damage would take years to reverse, the casualties numbered in billions, but humanity had done the impossible. They'd broken an empire not through superior force but through the power of organized chaos. In the ruins of the United Nations building, Sarah Mitchell met with Zephon and other disconnected Kron. Together, they began planning something unprecedented, a new galactic order based not on domination but on diversity. Your species is young, Zephon observed, watching humans and former enemies working side by side. Yet you taught the galaxy's oldest empire a lesson we should have learned eons ago. What's that? Sarah asked. That strength lies not in unity of thought, but in harmony of differences. The Empire sought to absorb your chaos. Instead, you gave us the gift of choice. As Earth slowly healed, ships from other worlds began arriving. Species long suppressed by the Kron came to witness the impossible, a primitive world that had shattered the galaxy's greatest power through sheer, stubborn refusal to surrender. The universe had learned its lesson. Humans might be young, divided, and chaotic, but push them to the brink, threaten their existence, and they become something terrifying, united in purpose, while individual in action. The Kron Empire had struck first, seeking to harvest humanity's greatest strength. What they got instead was a final chance at something they'd never known: freedom. And humanity, battered but unbroken, stepped onto the galactic stage not as conquerors, but as liberators. The stars would never be the same.